Oh, hi. There we go. Okay. Okay, folks. So this is 4.1, first part of our new unit. We're doing statistics. Hey, what's up? You know why it says? Oh, hold on. Let me pause. Sorry about that. Okay, where was I? Yeah, 4.1 is talking about scatter plots. So we have this girl, Luciana, starting a new social media campaign. Well, you can read that. The idea here is let me do this in green actually, trying to figure out what our new strategy is. And kind of the more relevant question is how many blog posts should she make per day? Okay. How many blog posts? Is that one of the blog posts? Social media posts, whatever, right? Per day, right? And so we get here, right? We can see that when she makes one per day, she gains 40 to 44, right? So the idea here is that as she makes more social media posts, she gains more followers, right? So you'd say like, well, shoot, she should make as many as she can do, right? But there's a diminishing returns. So right, basically, once you start getting six, your actual starts to go down, right? And the idea there is that like you start getting too many notifications on your phone about some person posting, and it just starts to get irritating. So you don't want to look at it anymore, right? So there's kind of a sweet spot right there. So the idea, her strategy is she should post 5 times per day and no more. Okay, because once she gets 6 times, then it actually starts to go down. It's actually not worth it for her to keep posting because the whole point is to maximize the number of views and the subscribers you get, right? So at a certain point, you're just wasted effort, right? And so that's kind of how we look at this, right? We use data like this, or we businesses use data like this to kind of like make decisions and predict the future, and kind of like figure out how what decisions to make, right? So this is all about statistics, right? So like using this data to make decisions and looking at it. Right? So we get here constructing a scatter plot. A scatter plot is just when you have a graph and you put like a lot of data points on it to kind of try to like I don't know, make sense of things, right? So again, we have the same girl. She's analyzing data collected to determine how long after posting a new blog her new homepage received its maximum number of new views. We've got the data right here. So the idea here is that this is going to be our x, this is going to be our y. When we get to our table here, or our graph here, we see that our scale is not showing everything. So if you want to, you can fill it in, right? The scale for the x-axis is 1 box per 1 hour, and the scale for her y-axis is going up by 50, right? So basically 1 box is equal to 50 new views, right? So that's going to be 250, 350, 450, and then 500 at the top. Okay, so we find our x-axis, our x values here, our y values here. Our first point is this 350. So we go over 2 up to 350, right there. 6 and 50, so 6 and 50 right there. 1 and 500, that's the highest one right there. Basically 1 hour after posting, she's getting 500 views. 200 right here. 4, 150 right there. 7, 25, that'll be just right in the middle right there. And 3, 250 right there. And so we can see that kind of like things start to diminish, right? As time goes on, the number of new views she gets goes down, which makes sense, right? Most people get the most views on their stuff right after they post it, right? So it's that kind of like critical period right after you post it where you get the most views, and then over time it diminishes, right? Which makes sense, right? So we could call this relationship negative. Basically, if we were to draw a line through this, it would have a negative slope, right? So we'll say the relationship is negative. Okay. And the idea here, as time passes, right, she gets less and less views. Okay, that's the idea. So now we have this scatter plot that's already created, and we're going to interpret it. We've got some vocabulary words we can talk about. So this girl, Rochelle, asked 10 friends how many hours of sleep they got the night before a math test, and then matched that data with their grade, their scores. She plotted that on the graph below. Did students who slept more get higher scores? Well, in general, that's the case, because we can see that like this person who, let's see, slept for 10 hours got 100%, and this person who slept for 5 hours got a like 60 or 70%, right? So we got kind of a general upward trend right here. So we can say in general, because this is real world data, and so you're going to have some weird kind of squirrely stuff that happens with real world data, right? We can say in general, students who slept more got higher scores. Okay. And so the idea here is that that's generally the case. However, we do have this person out here who managed to sleep 10 hours, but still bomb the test, actually get the worst score on it. So even though they slept 10 hours, they only got a 40%. We call data that doesn't really fit with the rest of the points an outlier. So we would say, just a point all by itself. Right, and it doesn't fit with the rest of the data. Right, so that's kind of the idea there. Okay. And then we can talk about areas where there is no data. That's our gap. Okay. And then we can talk about areas where we have a bunch of data all clumped up together, right? So this is when we talk about clusters. This is just a group of points all together. Okay. So, those are vocabulary words we'll use throughout this unit when we talk about scatter plots. But yeah, anyway. Example number 3, Avery is the middle school basketball statistician. She tracks the number of minutes a player plays and the number of fouls a player makes. Her data, I know it sounds weird to say her data are, but data is plural and data is singular, so that is correct. Her data are shown in the scatter plot. Is there an association between the number of minutes played and the number of fouls made? When we take a look at this, kind of our points are all over the place. There's really no organization to it. When we kind of look at the previous examples right here, we can see we have a general upward trend right here, even with that outlier. And here we kind of have a general downward or negative trend, right? So the idea is with this data here and this data here, you could draw a line through this data pretty easily that would represent most of the data, right? But here, in example number 3, right, we don't have anything going on. Let me see if I can focus this. And so when we ask this question, is there an association? What we're asking is there an easy way to draw a line through that data? And in this case, we don't have an easy way to draw a line. So we would say, no, there is no relationship. And if I could, right, or association with the number of minutes played versus fouls made. Okay. Another way you can think about this is you cannot draw a line through the data. Okay. And also, you cannot use this to predict anything. Okay. Right? Or you can't use it to make decisions, right? Because it's not telling you anything, right? There's no rhyme or reason to the data, so it's not really useful data, right? This data right here, this is useful, right? You can see that, oh, well, she gets the most views after, when it's posted immediately. So you want to get that video posted and get all those views and put like your good like ads in there, like, for people can click on to get through it because you're not going to get that many clicks after this point, right? So you kind of want to strike while the iron's hot. Yeah, that's that. There you go.